You'll notice it's kind of a semi-chisel. You've got your side plate. Welcome to the Okie Woodsman channel. Today we're going to check out a chain that costs more than some people's chainsaws. Let's take a look. I've got a package here from Rapco Industries. Let me show you what I've got. Well, first take a look at this chain right here. It's labeled Carlton, but this one's a little bit different. Let me show you what's different about it. You see that? Before you write this off, let's talk about this chain. In no way am I suggesting that this is a chain for everyone, but I bet you there is somebody out there with the application that this chain makes sense for. I'll give you an example. I had a job where I was having to cut some railroad ties, and the company provided an MS-250 and a single chain and a file. By bucking those railroad ties, it simply did not, it was too hard on those steel chains. It wasn't any good. Here's another one. I ordered this for my Echo CS310. This is in 3/8 low profile. I'm not gonna try to sell you on the concept. I just wanna see how it works. I wanna see if it's good for firewood cutting. Because when I reached out to Rapco, I said, hey, I'm interested in this. Are you able to send me some samples so I can show on video? When I ordered these, I got them in 063, just because I figured that I would utilize my bigger, stouter steel bars. So I suppose I was just assuming I'd cut with my steel chainsaw. And then I wanted a small chain for a little saw like this, because something like this, I feel like you're likely to be cutting a root with, or some dirty wood, or some stumps real down low. Pretty sure I'm about out of fuel here. Yep. I'm really curious to see how this carbide chain is holding up. We'll check it out after I'm done with my cutting session. So, what is my first impression on the Rapco chains? I have one full tank on them. First and foremost, I want to be abundantly clear. I was given these chains by Rapco to test them out. I'm not receiving any money. I'm not expecting any more product past this point. I got two chains. One in 063 for this 460 and one for my CS310. And that, I think I made an error, actually. That decision was an error. Let me explain. I had heard repeatedly that carbide chains don't cut well, that they're just no good, they're whatever, okay? So I kind of had this presupposition, I had an assumption that the chains were gonna be a bear to work with, and that I was going to be fighting them. And I didn't want to run them on my nice light bars. That's just all it's to it. Because I thought, well, if I'm fighting it, if I'm having to lean on the saw extra hard, I didn't want to put extra wear and tear on my steel light bar or my Sumira premium light. I regret that decision now. This chain runs and cuts well enough. It doesn't self-feed like an aggressive full chisel chain. At the same time, it does cut, and it cuts, I think, sufficiently well. I'm getting chips. I'm not getting the kinds of chips that some people are looking for. However, I was cutting in dried up oak. So who's this chain for? This chain is not for your average firewood cutter that knows how to hand file and has a stack of 70 chains. First of all, I think if you need this chain or if you're interested in this chain, you already have an idea. There's something in your head where you've had trouble. I can tell you right now that I have a circumstance like that. You see, if you've ever been in a circumstance where you have to get something cut and you put your bar into the wood and within moments you can tell it's just not right. Hey kitty. A carbide chain may very well be a good option for you. There's all sorts of specialty industries, specialty scenarios where a chain like this could be extremely beneficial. Let's go ahead and inspect this chain. You'll notice it's kind of a semi-chisel. You've got your side plate. Instead of a rounded edge here, you have this angle here. And then the top plate is pretty standard. Okay, see that? The profile is really like a round filed chain. I'm gonna look through here and I'm looking for damage on the cutters, on anything like that. I didn't hit it on the ground, I don't think. I think I'm just in wood. So the company made it clear to me that this chain is not going to just take solid abuse. You can't just go hitting metal and hitting chunk rock and expect it to hold up. But what it can do, or what it is designed to do, is stay sharp for an extremely long time frame. Many of you might be thinking, well, hey, that's great, except for how do you sharpen it? Well, I've got good news for you. If you've been following the channel, you know that I've been grinding with a rotary tool here and there with a diamond tip. Rapco did send me out a couple diamond, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing, but they did send me out a couple diamond tips for a rotary tool. That's how you can self-sharpen these. Now, this is an expensive chain, so I would recommend, if you are interested in something like this, it probably wouldn't be bad to start practicing on some of your steel chains, your regular metal chains right now, with a rotary tool, because it's not going to be anything different. This is going to be a harder material, and Rapco, like I said, they sell the specific grinding tips. And I'm going to go over that eventually as well, because this isn't a one and done type video. I want to run this and I want to see what it does in the long run. Okay, my channel's not going to be just running carbide chains from here on out. I don't think that's not the direction I'm going, but I wanted to see. I've always been curious. In fact, I know a gentleman named Mark that he is an occasional cutter here in Oklahoma. I've never mentioned him before. It's not the Mark that you've seen on the channel before, but he hates sharpening chains and he only buys carbide and he swears by them. I think that there's an application here. Would I put this in a $20 saw hand that doesn't care about your equipment on the excavation crew? I don't know. But if you have, like for me, in the past, I'd run around an excavator or knock a tree over in some really dusty, rocky dirt, and I'd be running around with the saw out there, like a 462, 461, something like that, or 661. And my chains wouldn't last very long out there just because of the environment. I wasn't necessarily hitting the ground, but what was happening is it was dirty wood. This chain could be beneficial in a scenario like that. That excavation company was charging a pretty penny for me being there. And I wasn't producing work when I was filing. Their thing was they would buy steel chains, semi-chisel chains, and when they got to be too far out, they just buy a new one. Most of the saw hands couldn't and wouldn't sharpen. I filed and then one other guy filed, but nobody else would. So at that point, those saws were getting abused, let me assure you. I want to encourage you, if you are interested in these, this company specializes in more like demolition type fire and rescue chains, but this is not that chain. I want to be clear, this is not the demolition type fire and rescue chain. Those are designed differently. Those are designed for far greater abuse, and they would not cut wood as efficiently as this one does. I will make sure that I put links down below, and if you have any questions about Rapco chains or carbide tip, this is high quality US made carbide tip chains. I was extremely impressed with how smooth it was. They put it on a Carlton chain. You can see that that's a Carlton stock chain that I believe what they do is grind. If I'm wrong, I apologize, Rapco, but they take a Carlton chain, grind it, and then go ahead and essentially attach, just like you would on a circular saw, these carbide tips. So they're using quality parts. They're made in the USA. You do pay a pretty penny for them. This chain here is close to $175. It's in that ballpark. This is an 84 link chain, full chisel, and it's sharp. It is sharp. I don't see any issues with any of the cutters after any of that. I was wondering if I'd see any chips or anything. And that was firewood that's been rolled around in this dirt here. It's been picked up. It's been laying in farm fields and all of the above. It's been grappled and forked with that machine over there, put on this machine, stuff shoved off on the other side, and I think that is a good scenario. Again, if you have a unique scenario, I've heard of trees that suck up silica, that have grit in them, this might be a good option. It truly might be a good option. Again, I'm not trying to say that this is the chain for every firewood cutter out there. There's people out there that say it takes them 5 minutes to hand file, to do a touch-up after they rock the chain. That's not me. It doesn't take me 5 minutes to bring a chain back to life. I think in certain scenarios, there is a purpose for this chain. And if it's right for you, I think you already have something going in your head. I would encourage you to reach out to Rapco. You can call them, you can email them, and talk to them about your specific needs. They can make suggestions, and they can help get you set up for what your needs are. Let you know whether or not it's going to even be a good idea. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is going to be an interesting thing. I'm curious to see how this is going to go in the long run. I know many people absolutely hate the concept of keeping a chain sharp. I enjoy it. I find it a challenge. I find it fun to file to an extent. But again, there's times when I don't necessarily want to do that. And let's keep our minds open. And I just wanted to bring a good quality product to you. And thank you, Rapco, for sending these out to me. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I will see you on the next one.